an elitist concept that has been regurgitated over and over again, usually by people who themselves desire to buy luxury goods and cannot, and are frustrated and triggered and project that frustration onto those who can buy these luxury designer brands or designer goods and belittle them for wearing these items by calling them new money in an effort to make themselves feel better. Old money, new money, if you know, you know. Money talks, wealth whispers. Logos are so passé. This topic has been trending on YouTube, and a lot of my friends on here have been discussing this, and I thought I'd weigh in on the topic myself. Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new video. Okay, before we get started, I'd like to thank today's sponsor for this portion of the video, lilysilk. I've worked with lilysilk before, and I have purchased some of their items myself, as well as I've been gifted some of these items to show you in my videos. Lilysilk is a company that produces high quality silk items from clothing, pajamas, bedding, pillowcases, as well as hair accessories and underwear. So they actually have a Mother's Day promotion running right now. So if you do want to get yourself something really nice for yourself or for your mom, lilysilk is actually a great place to look because they have special gift packaging and everything comes beautifully wrapped. They also have a special Mother's Day gift set that I will show you as well. The shirt that I'm wearing is one from lilysilk. As spring is approaching, and yes, we've had warm weather coming and going in April, and you know, sooner or later it'll be coming on full force in summer. And you guys know that my uniform is basically white shirts and black trousers, and maybe you can consider that the old money aesthetic, and wearing silk is the old money aesthetic. In reality, it's just me being lazy. But you know, easily you can feel elevated when you wear pieces like this. I do enjoy some of their styles, and I will insert links below in the description box of some of my top picks. Some of these items I have purchased myself, and some of these items I have been gifted in the past, so I can give you my honest opinion on some of the things that I like to wear in the workplace. They're very easy to work with because of the material being 100% silk, or some items have a mix of silk and other materials like cotton. They are very breathable as well. They are temperature regulating, keeps you warm when it's cold, keeps you cool when it's hot, and especially in the summertime you want something that's breathable. So this shirt that I'm wearing, I'll link it below. It has like a cute little like tie waist. It has like a bat wing sleeve, and very easy and comfortable to wear. It looks really great with trousers, and you can pair it with skirts if you like tucking it in. Again, there's a lot of free movement, especially with the type of work that I do. I also wanted to show you some of the underwear. Now, when you're wearing whites, a lot of the things that I used to be frustrated with was like lines that would show in underwear, particularly in bras, and I really didn't like having like the cup lines showing. You could wear like nude bras, but then still you would see like the band and the cup and like the bump of the strap. And they have these really nice silk bras with padding on the inside, and they're stretchy. They're like a one size fits all, so they're stretchy. Now if you're about my size or a bit bigger, these can work really well for you. If you're somebody who requires a lot of support, there are some of you guys that do have a larger bust, and perhaps this may not be for you, but generally speaking, if you are of an average size, this can adjust with other people. So they are like a one size fits all because they are stretchy. There is like the underwear that comes with it that is seamless, so that's really nice when you're wearing, like, I love my white dresses, so I really don't want any underwear lines showing. And this is really nice, and I'll show you in the cutaways that you can, there really is no line. And this type of style of bra is something that I've resorted to during lockdowns, and I haven't looked back. They're so comfortable. I just can't stand having like straps sticking in. I like this because it doesn't show under my shirts, which is really nice. The Mother's Day gift bundle that they have offered, I'm going to show you this as well. So it's like accessories for your hair. Comes with like a bunch of little scrunchies, silk scrunchies. These are really nice to have on hand because they don't tug on your hair and they're just really pretty. They also have this, like, heatless curls are all the rage these days, and this is something that I used to do like years ago because I didn't want any heat damage. And then now, I mean, I use like a Dyson. This is like third day hair, but I use a Dyson to get that blown out look, but then I'll also use a curling iron if I really want to find curls. But something like this, right, you've seen it, and then you wrap your hair around it, and then it comes with like the matching scrunchies, so you can put your hair up at nighttime and get curls overnight. So you can do this on hair that's been freshly washed or damp, and you can get curls in the morning. The way I like to use the heatless curl method is when I do like a blowout, or if I curl my hair and I want it to last the next day, what I'll do is I'll use something like this or some other, this will be really great for this, but like that's what I'll do. I'll either use like their silk scrunchie, put my hair in a ponytail, and then what I do is I take the ponytail and like wrap it around the silk scrunchie and then like clip it in place. That's worked really well, but I'm excited to use this because I've seen like this concept all over social media, and then it has this wire so you can bend it around. So it's nice to sort of maintain that blowout. It also comes with this bonnet as well, which is so soft, and really nice to protect your hair at night if you want, or you know, even use it as kind of like something to absorb the moisture from your hair when you do wash your hair. So do look at the lilysilk website, and I'll insert links in the description box if you're interested in any of these items. They have a promotion running for a limited time. The Mother's Day gift box that I just shown you is only available for this time. So if you're interested, go check it out, and let's move on to our topic. Okay, so this discussion on old money and logos being very new money and not very classy. This discussion has been trending on YouTube. However, it's nothing new actually. It's been trending a lot on short form content like TikTok. And I would say I saw videos like this like 2 years before. So this discussion on old money versus new money and loud luxury versus quiet luxury is not new, and there have been a lot of videos posted on TikTok. The comment section is very polarized, and it really brings out the ugly in a lot of the commenters, and people are saying some really mean things, and people are triggered. Some people are all for it. And so since the discussion of luxury YouTube being over, which I don't think it's over, but since that whole discussion, this has also been looped in as well. So the comment section on these videos, some of the comments are very belittling and really outright insult people who wear luxury designer brands that are recognizable. So I've touched on this topic actually before. In one of my earlier videos, I've touched on this and discussed so-called basic luxury, okay? So when people accuse certain things of being basic, so for instance, the monogram canvas from Louis Vuitton, looking at anything with logos all over it, looking at well-known designer shoes, the Balmain blazer, you name it. I discussed all that in that video, and I discussed it through the lens of Thorstein Veblen's Theory of the Leisure Class. This is a book that has been written. If you want to look into it, you can go ahead, and there's lots of summaries online as well if you want to read it yourself. This is something that I read in university, and basically Veblen talks about the leisure class, the elite class, and the idea of new money versus old money, and how material commodities can delineate different classes. So he calls these positional goods. And basically one of the main points in his book are that when something is consumed by the leisure class or the elite and trickles down to the middle class, then and they start, you know, they desire these items because the leisure class is wearing them, then that commodity no longer delineates the elite or leisure class, and the leisure class no longer wants to associate themselves with those luxury goods because it is no longer exclusive. So that's kind of like a summary of that point, and I discussed more of that in that video for basic luxury. I'll link it down below. It's one of my earlier videos. Maybe the editing and sound and lighting is not the greatest in that one, but the content is there. So my attitude towards these videos, okay, that have gone on saying that, you know, if you buy luxury brands, that you're not truly rich and you're not truly wealthy, and that the truly wealthy wear, you know, plain t-shirts, and then the examples that are given are like Mark Zuckerberg, who wears like a plain t-shirt by Brunello Cucinelli, and you know, is very plain, but you know, these t-shirts are like expensive, but you know, doesn't care about logos, doesn't need to prove anything. These are the type of examples that are given, and then they contrast it to people who would wear something with a logo, or something that is not necessarily with a logo, but something that is recognizable in terms of a designer brand. And it's an elitist concept that has been regurgitated over and over again, usually by people who themselves desire to buy luxury goods and cannot, and are frustrated and triggered and project that frustration onto those who can buy these luxury designer brands or designer goods, and belittle them for wearing these items by calling them new money in an effort to make themselves feel better. Usually those videos are put out by those people who project these insecurities onto others. There, I've said it. You wouldn't have people who have the wealth, or, you know, are so-called old money, going out and making these videos. They don't care. So that's my observation. A lot of these videos are made by people who have no interest in luxury and just want to put other people down for liking luxury. And this concept doesn't necessarily occur with, you know, luxury designer goods. It could be any other material goods. For instance, vehicles. Okay, so you know, you look at, and maybe this is considered luxury, okay, maybe Tesla is considered luxury. Tesla, when it came out, you know, it's not a cheap car, but it's not necessarily up there with luxury cars, and not many were around, okay, so there weren't many around, and those who had one, it was like, wow, like, you have a Tesla, that's amazing, like, it was kind of like a status symbol. And I was discussing this with other people, and they're like, oh, I hate Teslas. There's so many around. And you know what? There are a lot. There's a lot. I mean, I guess it's a great car. People love it for a reason. And, you know, there are certain tax incentives that people have when they purchase these electric vehicles. They're popular for a reason. The actual car did not change in itself, but the views towards it changed, right? Because it's no longer exclusive, right? There's so many more on the roads that it doesn't command that attention anymore. Same goes for other luxury vehicles as well. For instance, Land Rovers, Range Rovers, okay, especially where I live, I mean, you see a lot of them. And, you know, it's kind of considered like the basic SUV. I don't know if you've heard that before, but I mean, I'm not like, I personally don't like the like Range Rovers for a reason, but that's not to do with it becoming more common. It's just I don't like Range Rovers anymore. But you get my drift. This argument of old money, new money, new money wearing logos, money talks, wealth whispers, is a bit elitist and colorist as well. And often, if you notice, the old money aesthetic usually is associated with people who are rich and who are also white, okay? You will not see the old money aesthetic portrayed by people of color. For instance, being South Asian, being brown, being Asian, being you know, a visible minority, being black. You will not see these people associated with the old money aesthetic. And there are many different reasons for this, but if you are of color, no matter what you wear, no matter what you buy, you will not be associated with the old money aesthetic. You will always be considered new money. And this, you could see that, especially like, I mean, in hip hop culture, okay, a lot of artists who wear designer goods, and it can be quite loud too. I mean, again, it's about the style, it's about the culture, right? It's considered like not classy. And those who wear plain clothes that are expensive is now classy, right? So, you know, if you think about like even items that were considered quiet luxury, for instance, like the MS Birkin, which in my opinion is no longer quiet. I mean, yes, there's no obvious logo on it, but I mean, if you follow the luxury world, you know what this bag is and what it takes to get one. Like, you know the whole game, like, you know that this is an expensive item. And, you know, Cardi B had like a video where she was showing like her Birkins, and people were really trashing her and saying that, you know, the Birkin is no longer classy anymore because people like Cardi B are wearing it, right? So again, doesn't matter if something has a logo or not, if something is recognizable and if something is well known, and it was once worn by wealthy individuals, and now it is worn by people who no longer fit that old money aesthetic, and they may have money themselves, but they don't fit that old money phenotype, then it is considered classless and it's considered trashy. There's a lot of old money worldwide. Okay, I live in Canada. Okay, so North America, I mean, I would say we don't have a whole lot of old money. Yes, there are a few families who have wealth for, you know, a couple of generations, but we don't necessarily have that generational wealth that you could see in places like Europe, in India, in Asia, where you have people having wealth passed down generations, like tens of generations, where people or the descendants have inherited homes and property, and, you know, they may not earn the money, but they've inherited these assets because their forefathers and grandfathers and all these people were really rich, and just that wealth kept building and it kept being passed down. So it's a very different dynamic, right? Whereas people who live in North America, most of the people who live here have immigrated here. Either they're first generation, second generation, maybe third generation, maybe a few like there's very few people who have been here for a really long time, or their families have been here for a very long time. So in essence, a lot of people are new money. If you look at, say, places like India, there's a lot of poverty, but there is a lot of old money as well, right? And you don't necessarily see people, those families, portrayed in the old money aesthetic. There are families who have a lot of money. Like, I mean, I know a lot of influencers, like luxury influencers, were invited to India for the opening of like the Ambani like arts center, and, you know, now a lot of people are familiar with the Ambani family, who is, I don't even know what level, like what rank they fall in, but they've got a lot of money, okay? Like billions and billions, like they've, I sound like Donald Trump, but they've got a lot of money, okay? Now, they're flashy as heck. Like, they have luxury vehicles, they've got Ferraris, Lamborghinis, they've got, you know, like Rolls Royces, like they have recognizable luxury commodities, the jewelry, they've got like luxury handbags, right? Like they are wearing logos, right? But they have the wealth. They also have the generational wealth. But you will never see them being associated with the old money aesthetic. The old money aesthetic is white, wearing plain clothes that are expensive but not well known. And another thing is that, you know, you also have, we're generalizing these groups, okay? Wealth versus middle class, okay? I'm not gonna talk about people who are of low income. Wealth and middle class, right? The middle class is considered like new money. You have to think like there's diversity within these classes too. It's not like everybody who is truly rich is just going to go for the quiet luxury. There are people who have generational wealth who do like to buy luxury items that are recognizable, who have logos. They like to buy fancy cars, like they like to buy that stuff. Whereas some people that belong to that class don't have an interest in this stuff. And likewise for people in the middle class. You have people in the middle class who like luxury logos and these commodities that are easily recognizable, and then you also have people who really couldn't care less. People also spend their money on different things, right? So yes, if you follow the world of luxury, you're going to focus on designer brands and stuff like that. But I mean, within each group of people, there are people who are stingy. Like there's people who are in the wealthy category, old money category, who are so stingy with their money. And the same goes for the middle class. And there are people who splurge. There are people who don't like to purchase, material commodities. They prefer to spend money on transient experiences. So for instance, travel, self-care, going to the spa, having a personal trainer, services. They might want to have a personal chef, they might want a driver, they might want somebody to clean their home. And people in the middle class also will prioritize spending money on those things versus material goods. So some people spend money on like education and continuously learning courses. Like that's a luxury in itself. Not everybody can afford that. There are people who spend money going out to really nice restaurants, and they really like to sit down and have like a 7-course meal at like a Michelin star restaurant, and will spend a lot of money on that. So the thing is that there's diversity in each group, and we can't just generalize that just because somebody doesn't wear designer logos and has money is considered old money and is wealthy and truly wealthy, and those who have money are in the middle class and are spending money on designer goods that are easily recognizable are new money and aren't truly wealthy and are actually really broke and they're just trying too hard to look rich. That's a load of bull. Regardless of logos or not, I'm revisiting bags that are don't have a huge logo on it. For instance, the Hermes Birkin. A lot of people know what this bag is, okay? And it is no longer, even though it is hard to get, like it's not easy to buy, but it's still possible to buy if you go on the pre-owned market, if you're willing to pay a markup. So anybody with a sum of money can go and purchase one on the pre-owned market. And it really depends on where their priorities lie. Some people prioritize buying such things, some people don't, right? So it doesn't really mean anything anymore. So I wouldn't even consider that quiet luxury. So again, it doesn't, just because something doesn't have a logo doesn't mean that it's quiet luxury. So old money or generational wealth, it's not necessarily reflected in what you wear and what you don't wear. It's a mindset and it's a level of confidence that people can have where they feel secure. So if you're financially secure, you exude this confidence, right? You tend to, you know that everything will, generally speaking, be okay. Versus if you're worried about where your next paycheck is coming from, it's a different mindset altogether. But you can exude that confidence at any level, right? So you could be middle class, but be confident that what you have money-wise is more than enough for you. And you could be super wealthy and have a lot of wealth, but still be chasing wealth because whatever you have is not enough for you. So again, it's a mindset. So truly quiet luxury to me is having really using your items, okay? So for example, I saw there's beauty to having a luxury piece that has been well worn, and it can have logos all over it. It could be monogram, right? Like you can have the monogram canvas from Louis Vuitton. You could have something with a big Chanel logo on it. But if it's been well loved, to me that is, I guess in a way, like old money aesthetic, right? Because it looks like it's been passed down to you, or you've had it for such a long time, and that, you know, it's not new, right? Like you were able to afford it all along. Things like older styles, right? The basic styles, right? Like the Gucci monogram. Older classic pieces that have been around. That does exude more of an old money aesthetic to me. And I saw one time there was this one lady walking in Toronto, and it was raining. It was like a little bit of a speckle of rain in the air, and it was a cloudy day, and she was wearing a Chanel boy bag. Now the Chanel boy bag is a pretty new style. Okay, it came out in like I think like early like 2012, something like that. But she wasn't too precious with it. Like, it was raining, it was lambskin, right? And you know, you'd see us kind of just like clutching it and protecting it so that it doesn't get, you know, watermarks on it, but she didn't care. It was you know, the flap wasn't even closed, right? She had it swung on her shoulder, and she's like walking around, and to me that looked so classy, because she didn't care so much about the bag getting ruined. She was wearing the bag was not wearing her, and it was well loved, right? So that is an aesthetic that to me exudes confidence, it exudes old money. If something is well worn and you're not too precious with it, it kind of signals that you could probably afford to buy it again. You're not saving it for a special occasion. You probably have other bags that you can rotate between. So, you know, to me, that's what I feel is more of like that old money aesthetic. If you've got like an old Gucci bag, right, and maybe it's probably not the latest it bag, but if you're really wearing it and enjoying it, I mean, to me that's old money. It just looks like you've had it for a really long time. So my concluding points is, no matter what, there will always be somebody who is wealthier than you, who has more assets than you, who is better looking than you, who is better connected than you, has a richer family than you, who is more educated than you. And, you know, no matter what, like, you're always going to be, once you reach like a certain level, you're always going to, our human nature is to try to move up and be better. And the important thing is not to feel bad, because there will always be people who have more than you. And the important thing to remember is there's a ton of other people who could only dream of being where you are. And it's kind of sad, because the higher up you go, in terms of wealth status, people are still competing. Like, no matter how wealthy you are, you will still compete to make yourself appear better and more richer than the other party. And lastly, buy what you love and enjoy it, wear it. Don't save it. Don't put it on the shelf to collect dust. I mean, like I've talked about, I realized this during the pandemic, that it's not worth saving things for a special occasion. You should wear them. You should enjoy them. I wouldn't say abuse them, but like, you should really buy what you love. Buy what fits your style. If you like logos, if you don't like logos, if you like something that is so-called basic, if you like the new it piece, it doesn't matter what it is. Buy what you ultimately love, what makes you happy, but then wear it. Don't save it. It's not, you know, you'll get far more return on this investment, in quotes, because handbags are not an investment. Because, you know, saving them and keeping them pristine to potentially sell in the future, it's just not worth it at these prices. The point is just to enjoy luxury as it is and really don't care what people think. Thumb up this video if you enjoyed it, and if you haven't subscribed already, do subscribe. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.